Hello friends, today's recipe is that of grain-free tea time cookies, also called as Marie Biscuits. So let's get started. Now you can use two types of different flours for this. You can use gluten-free measure for measure flour, as well as you can use cassava flour, and Otto's brand is the one that I recommend. Now I have tried this recipe using both these types of flours and both were came out very good. So start with 2 tablespoons of coconut milk. I just like to pour out my coconut milk into a container first before measuring. And then I have 3 tablespoons of maple syrup. Now you can also use any other sweetener like coconut sugar, etc. Now I'm going to warm this in the microwave for 30 seconds. Next we add about a quarter teaspoon of baking soda and just keep this aside. The soda should have dissolved in it completely. And next we'll just measure out the flour. So I am using today cassava flour and I'm using 1 cup of cassava flour, and I'm adding about an 1/8 teaspoon of sea salt and just kind of mixing it quickly. Next I have coconut oil. I like to soften my coconut oil first before measuring it, because if it's too hard, it's kind of hard to measure. So I just softened it by heating it in the microwave for 10 seconds. And now I am measuring it to, it's like semi-solid consistency, and I have 1/4 cup of it. Okay, so now we just mix everything together. I add the flour mixed with the salt into the coconut milk and the maple syrup mixture, and next we just add the coconut oil into it completely, and we just mix everything well together using a spatula. Now this is a very simple, easy recipe. Now one thing that I'll mention is, if you replace the maple syrup with some kind of granular sweetener, then you might find that the texture is a little bit drier, and in which case you just add another couple teaspoons of the milk that you're using. I know I've used coconut milk here for an AIP version, but you could also use any other nut milk like almond milk, etc. Okay, so this is the texture you're looking for, like a dough kind of a texture. See how it kind of comes together very easily, and it's like it's a little bit sticky kind of dough, not like very sticky, but it's sticky to roll, right? But it's not like sticky that your hand will be sticky. It's kind of like a smooth dough. Okay, so next we just need to roll it out. So these are like roll out cookies. So as I said before, it's hard to roll these out without parchment paper, so you need to have put the piece of dough between 2 layers of parchment paper and then roll it. Okay, so I'm just going to cover it like that, or you can just put another sheet over on top and use like a thick roller like these, and roll it from all the sides to about, I would say, like really thin, so about a 1/4 inch thickness, I would think. So I think that's about a 1/4 inch now thickness, right? Oops, yeah, so as I said, you can't like roll it without parchment paper, it'll stick to it, so you need to have that. And then I'm using like a lid of a container, but you could use a cookie cutter if you have a nice round shape one. And then depending upon the size of your cookie cutter, you will get anywhere between 18 to 2 dozen cookies. With this cutter, I got about 20, 20 to 22 cookies. Yeah, I think about 22. And next, you need to poke them with something. Now, I'm doing it with a fork here, but late when I started doing it, I actually made this batch many times, and for the next few batches, actually, I used a toothpick, because it's very systematic. With a toothpick, you can actually get the design of the Marie cookie. But if you're lazy, you can just use a fork. It's definitely easier. And then, as these cookies are a little bit sticky to touch, you just, yeah, use a spatula to get these out. That's better, just to make sure that they don't break on you, because they're very delicate to handle. So with the remaining dough, then again, you do the same process, roll it out and make more cookies. So for the I have about 14 lined up here, so I'll add one more. And these cookies I'm going to bake in this tray. I have the oven preheated at 325 degrees Fahrenheit, and I'm going to bake it for 12 minutes at first, and then take it out, and I'm going to flip these over and bake them again for another 2 minutes. Okay, so now this step is, I would say, optional, because if you don't want, you can skip this step if you don't want to flip them, and you can just let these cool and you can have them as is. But I like to do this extra step because it makes them extra crispy, just like how the Marie biscuits are, or the Marie biscuits as we call them in India. So I'm just going to bake them for a couple more minutes, and these are ready now. See, these are really nice and crispy. Perfect to have with your cup of tea or coffee. I hope you enjoyed this recipe, and please let me know how you like this recipe. Please don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel.